Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I have the story for you. Guys, this is a story, the title of the story is, I found my wife's old sex tape, now our marriage is on the rocks. If you have any advice, please share. And guys, this is a story about a guy who's been married for 7 years. And as the title describes, he somewhere found an old sex tape of his wife from college. And what was going on in that tape, you wouldn't believe it. And believe me, he certainly never saw it coming. And you'll see as I go into the article what was going on. But here's the deal. It'd be one thing if, obviously she was very active and fun in the marriage in that department. But here's the thing. She isn't. And he's been married to her for 7 years, and she is what he describes as being incredibly picky and prudish when it comes to the bedroom. Okay? I'm talking, the way he describes it, basically your average nun would be more adventurous and exciting in the sack than his wife. Okay? And so when he discovers this, he loses his mind finding out that she was doing all that when she was in her 20s in college, riding the carousels, we all call it. She was riding many carousels in this video, as you're going to see. But, and he loses it. Okay? Because his question is, how come for all these years you weren't doing anything for me, but yet in the video with what was going on, you could do that? And at least this whole big mess, and you're going to see what I'm talking about here. And guys, this will be the first of 3 videos of this particular story because it's long. And if I did the whole video I did the whole story in one video, you'd be here 45 minutes. That's way too damn long. Okay. And the reason I chose this story, aside from the fact that it's entertaining and you just never believe what's out there, is that this guy's biggest issue with all this is the fact that how come she wasn't doing these things with him. Okay? And I've told you guys more times than I can say that by and large, most women settle. Okay? Most women these days get married in their early 30s. Okay? A lot of them spend their 20s now riding the carousel, having fun with all the bad boys that they hope to get, but those guys aren't going to settle with them, and also focusing on career. And when they realize those types of guys are never going to be the ones to settle, or whether they're the bad boys or just guys that are very successful that they want to have, but those guys don't want to settle, they end up settling for the typical marriage material dorky dad types. What do I mean by that? I mean the type of guy that when you're out, you can take one look at him and say, that guy is going to be a dorky dad, or that guy is a dorky dad. Those are the ones they settle with. Now, some people come on here and say, especially women come on here and say, hey, everybody settles, okay? So what are you talking about? Yes, in some degree, there is truth to that. But here's the deal. I'm not talking about how women would say they want a guy who's a 10, who makes millions of dollars and is worth even more than that, drives a Ferrari, has a yacht, is extremely good looking and charming and confident and adventurous and exciting. Okay? Yeah, they want that type. But it doesn't mean that they settle for a guy who's maybe just a 9 or an 8. Typically, when they get to their 30s and realize the clock is ticking, they'll settle for guys that are like 6s in their eyes or 5s, barely making it. Okay, those are the types. The types when you go out somewhere, guys, and you see a family out somewhere, or out to eat, or out somewhere, and you see the wife is pretty, older but pretty, and has a couple kids running around, and you see her husband, and he looks like the biggest dork in the world with a belly bag and wearing dad shirts and dad clothes, just looks like a dorky dad, and you say, how did he get her? Well, that's what happened. She settled for him. And do you think that she is doing everything that she did with the guys in her 20s, the Chads and Tyrones and the bad boys, that she's going to do with him? No way. No way. He gets the bare minimum if he's getting any at all. Why? Because she doesn't see him that way. And so the point I'm trying to make is, guys, is that a lot of guys, they end up getting, in their 30s, they end up getting a woman who probably wouldn't give them the time of day in their 20s, but they're settling now. And they think, hey, I won. Well, no, you didn't, okay? Because trust me, you didn't get her. You may have got a ring on her finger. You may have a marriage license that says her name and your name and all that. But trust me, she doesn't see you the same as the other guys. She doesn't treat you the same as the other guys. And she's not going to do what she did to those guys to you in the bedroom anywhere close to those guys, okay? Because she settled. That's reality. That's real life, and that's what happened in this story. And so I'm sharing this with you guys just to show you exactly a real life example of what happens. So, getting right into it, starts out saying, I'll sum up what happened thus far. I met my wife 7 years ago. She was extremely picky when it came to sex. She told me she'd only been with one other guy before. Pay attention, one other guy, guys. She would never give a BJ, only would do certain positions, and found almost every sex act degrading. I was frustrated by this, but I really liked her and hoped over the years she would open up sexually. So in other words, before they even were married, she was behaving this way. What does it say about her attraction for this guy? Does it say that she sees him as a big prize, or does she see as some guy that basically she knows that she's a prize in his eyes, so she doesn't have to do shit? That's what we got here. Over the years, it never got any better, but I learned to get over it. Well, I ended up finding an old video from her college days of her engaging in group sex with 6 other people, 5 guys, and 1 girl. In the video, she has anal sex, oral sex, gets double teamed, and yells multiple times in the video that she is a filthy WHORE. All of it she was enthusiastic about. I end up feeling really sad. Dude, be a little more masculine than that. Don't say I felt really sad. Say you were pissed off and kicking shit. This isn't Sesame Street. I can understand certain stuff people don't want to do, but it wasn't the fact that she didn't want to do. It wasn't the fact that she didn't want to do them. She didn't want to do them with me. But every other guy, she was their WHORE. I was angry, hurt, and I ended up saying some stupid shit to my wife. So imagine that, 7 years, or longer than that, the most boring, vanilla, if any, sex at all, and then he finds out back in college, look what was going on. And the whole I was only with one guy thing. Yeah, right. This is why, guys, if you get to your 30s and all of a sudden women that were paying attention that wouldn't give you the time of day in your 20s, don't fall for it. Okay? If you want to have a little fun with them, that's fine, but don't fall for it, because believe me, you're not going to get, unless you are obviously, if you are just your average guy, and you all know if you're an average guy or not, and all of a sudden these women are giving you all this attention, and they never would have given you the time of day, believe me, you're on their radar. You're marriage material in their eyes, and they want to settle, and you're not going to get shit. I'm telling you right now, unless you do things to really improve yourself and so forth, then they might see you as a prize and you have all the fun you want. But otherwise, if you're your average guy, your average dorky guy, trust me, you're not going to get shit. And I don't care if you have her on your arm and she's pretty, believe me. I asked her if she could drop our daughter off at her sister's house because I wanted to talk to her. She asked why. I told her we'd discuss after she came back. I don't remember all the details of the conversation, so I'll try my best to sum it up. I was drinking a bit before she came, which wasn't the best idea to add to it. And this is going to go through the whole dialogue of their conversation about him confronting her over what he found in the whole 9 yards. Starts off, he says, "Me, is there anything about your past you've been hiding about?" She says, "Why are we talking about this?" "I just want to know, weren't you in any type of porn or anything like that?" She says, "Are you taking drugs?" He says, "I found your video from college with other guys. I don't know who you are anymore, and I feel ill being around you." She starts crying. He says, "Do you have anything to say?" She continues to cry. This was pointless. I go to grab my keys to leave, and she tries to stop me. Isn't that amazing? Whenever there's a situation when a woman's caught, whatever she does, and it's Niagara Falls with the tears. Every time. I can't tell you how many stories I've done. It's the same situation. He says, "If you don't want me to leave, then I need you to be 100% honest with me and tell me why you lied to me all these years." She says, "I didn't want you to think I was a slut." Me, he says, "I would have been perfectly fine if you told me. I would have loved to have you done all these wild things with you. Look, I get it. I don't turn you on like those other guys do. You like sucking their you-know-whats, but not mine." Okay, this goes to show you the way this guy really sees himself and feels about himself. The fact that he says, "Look, I get that I don't turn you on." Does he sound like a guy that values himself, that sees himself as a prize? And does it sound like a guy that sees himself as a prize or values himself, that for 7 years he's been getting the most boring, vanilla sex that you can imagine, and just going along with this? No. I guarantee you that when he met her, to him, she was out of his league, and he saw her as his prize, so he's willing to put up with anything just to get a pretty girl in his arm. But look what happened. She says, "It's not that. I don't want you to think less of me." And he says, "No, it is exactly that. There's a thing lying about sleeping with other guys. It's not that you didn't like doing those things. You didn't like doing them with me." In other words, he's really he's really pissed off that you're willing to do all this stuff with all these other guys, but you won't even basically touch me. What does that say about me? What does it say about your attraction for me? It shows obviously that he was the bottom of the barrel, her last choice, her last ditch effort to get a guy to marry. That's what was going on, and this guy knows it. She says, "I can do that stuff with you. I'm attracted to you. You know that." Yeah, bullshit. He says, "I don't want you to do it because you feel like you have to. I want someone that actually desires me." She says, "I can change. I promise. I promise. Don't ruin our marriage over this. We can work things out. We can go to marriage counseling. Seriously, talk to me." He says, "Marriage counseling won't change how you feel about me. Look, I will try marriage counseling, but I want a trial separation for now." Damn, this guy's fed up. She says, "Please don't do this. Don't throw away our marriage for what I did in college, please." And he says, "Stop effing acting like it's a one-time thing. Be honest with me. How many guys did you F before me? How many guys, you know what, have you sucked? And how many guys let you F you in the ass?" This reminds me of the movie Clerks, where the guy Dante finds out that his girlfriend went down on like 26 or 27 guys, and he was absolutely losing his mind. That's what this sounds like. She says, "Why does it matter? I said I'll do them with you." He says, "I'm so effing lucky. I got married to a WHORE that F's like a prude." She says, "Please don't waste all our marriage on this. I am willing to change." Even if she's willing to change, even if she's willing to do everything he could possibly ever want and more, that still doesn't change the fact that she lied to him about that all those years. It doesn't change the fact that for 7 years he was getting the absolute bottom of the barrel in terms of the affection department and all the other things, okay? And he obviously knows that she doesn't desire him, she's not attracted to him, and it was all just settling. This is what happens, guys, if you are someone that a woman settles for. Don't be that guy. He says, "I'm not divorcing you, but I want a trial separation for now, and I want to see how things go. Right now, I feel sick looking at you. I ended up leaving, but my wife kept trying to stop me. She kept on begging, saying I could do anything I wanted with her. I was truly pathetic, and I lost all respect for my wife, the way she was trying to manipulate me with sex." He says, "I am staying in a motel right now. I've been getting constant calls from my wife. She's been asking me where I am. If I tell her, then she's going to confront me, and I don't feel like I am ready for that. I'm so effing drained. I feel bad saying those things to my wife, but I don't know what else to do. I'm so effing hurt over this." He goes on, "As I said before, I wouldn't care if she had a promiscuous past. Seriously. Wouldn't care, but the fact that she did all those things for other guys, but doesn't do them for me, hurts me the deepest. I don't see how this marriage can be recovered. I can't change her attraction to me. My father has recently been diagnosed with a tumor in his lung, and that has already been stressing me out pretty badly." I don't buy the whole that he wouldn't care that she was doing all those other things to other dudes. I don't buy that. You know, and even if, like, let's just say for the last 7 years, she was even just half that, or the whole thing, you know, the same type of loving that the rest of them got. I have a very hard time believing this guy would be okay with that, especially after seeing the video. "Please tell me what I can do. My confidence as a man has been destroyed. Before I found out about this, I tried to get my wife to open up sexually, but she completely shot it down. I really believe she isn't attracted to me in the way she was to those other guys." He's right. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's absolutely the truth. "That's why she felt completely fine being their WHORE, but won't give me a BJ. I want a woman that looks at me lustfully, not that has sex will have to fulfill my wifely duties." Yeah, he wants a woman to want him, not just settle for him, and you can't blame it in the least. "I don't feel entitled to other types of sex with my wife. I want her to want to do them. Not even if she does do them, I will be out of guilt, not out of desire. I don't see how we can recover our marriage. I feel really shitty, and it won't be able able to see my daughter as much, especially during her younger years. I've already made some calls to reroute my paychecks and get my finances in order if we do go for a divorce. My brother works at a big law firm. I'm thinking about contacting him to at least see what I should be doing now. Very smart. Find out your options if that is indeed what this guy wants to do. Thing is, once I call him, it becomes the point of no return. If I tell my family members, then their image of my wife becomes destroyed. Also, I have to check because right now she is dependent on me for health insurance, and I don't want her to be deprived of that if we do divorce, because she has been having health issues. I don't want to ruin anything, but I can't see how things would ever be okay. If you don't have any advice for me and are just going to be judgmental, please don't waste your time commenting. I know I said some hurtful things in there, but you don't know the level of hurt I am feeling right now. I've apologized to my wife since then, but I don't see how a relationship can be recovered. And he goes on real quick to say, I want to make things work between me and my wife. I understand she doesn't want to do certain sex acts. I am considering proposing to her the idea of an open marriage. That way we can still be together as a family, and we can both can have the fulfilling sex lives we want. And so, guys, that is part 1 of this thing. Like I said before, this thing will go on forever if I do all part 2 and 3. So I'll be doing part 2 tomorrow and part 3 on Sunday. But summing this all up, guys, again, like I told you in the beginning of the video, this is a perfect example, a real-life example of what will happen when a woman will settle for a guy. He's going to get the bare minimum of love, treatment, and certainly sex, okay? On the other hand, if she got together with a guy that she really saw as a prize, that she was really attracted to, had all these things, I'm not even going to say he was a 10 in her eyes, but let's just say he was an 8. Believe me, it'd be a completely different situation. So long as that guy he continued to have her attracted to him. As long as he maintained frame, he kept being the strong, take charge, leader, successful guy that he was before they got together. Then believe me, he would still get some of this stuff, okay? Guaranteed, okay? I'm not saying it'd be as much because we all know darn well once the ring goes on the finger, the ballpark changes, and any of you guys that are married know that fully well. But I'm sure there are guys watching this right now that were in a marriage or maybe in a marriage right now where this sounds very familiar to them, okay? Maybe you found out about something about her past, or who the hell knows. So the bottom line is this, guys, if you're in your 30s and you know you're an average guy, and all of a sudden you're getting attention from all these women, understand this. I don't mean to bust your chops. I know this is a tough pill to swallow. It is because they see you in their eyes as marriage material. A guy they can easily get to settle with them so they can have a family and kids. And trust me, you're going to get the bare minimum, okay? Do you want that? I'm going to assume no. So don't fall for that trick. Don't fall into that trap. Instead, I want you bettering yourselves on all areas of your lives so you can be that guy. For you, of course, first, let me make that clear, so you can be the best you can be and have an enjoyable life. And then if you want to, date and hook up with women, they're going to see you as a prize, not just view you as some dorky guy they can easily get and do the bare minimum with and settle for. You don't want that. So you're going to see in part 2 tomorrow where this goes with him wanting to have the open marriage and all that. It's definitely interesting. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.